Hi, Cathi here. Welcome to Feng Shui Mastery, 7 Feng Shui steps to live a healthier life. Now, this is all about using the Feng Shui principles to create an environment in which you feel healthier within and without. But before we move on with that, I'd like to introduce myself a little bit more and tell you about who I am. Now, I've done a whole series of different occupations: radio journalism, lecturing, complementary therapist, occupational therapist, entrepreneur, property developer, but they've all afforded me to be going in and out of many different environments, people's personal homes, clinics, healing centres, hospitals, and also visiting many different countries around the world. It actually set me up for the ideal profession, which is my Feng Shui consultation. And I've really enjoyed teaching people because it actually empowers people to go and shift changes in their own lives and in their own environments, and that gives them more power and control over their own life. So how did I get into this? Well, I come from an inner city in the UK anyway, and as a child I realised that what was around me was influencing how I felt. Now, it took me a while to realise that. I wasn't that kind of a too bright a kid, but I did write poetry about how the brick walls were making me feel depressed because there were no trees where I grew up, and the inner city school I went to, there were no plants, there was nothing, it was all concrete. And then I went to the suburbs at 16 and discovered that there was a whole array of woods and beautiful fields and pink trees, and I could see that this had a huge influence on the kind of people that I now went to school with. They were very inspirational, they had aspirations, confident, optimistic, and I just realised for me over a period of time in my life how it affects you internally and it affects your mindset and what you believe is achievable. So I've gone in the last 23 years to realise how much environments affect us all, even the good environments. And then I've done webinars on the internal environment of who we are internally. And so, because that does affect us, of course it does, how we feel on the inside will also affect and control what we perceive on the outside. So I've written articles on health and feng shui for interior design magazines. I've done talks for a series of different retailers, Selfridges, Redrow the builders, and help people in their businesses abroad as well. You know, people with their shops in tourist seaside areas, just looking at colour, sound, aroma, and some of the ideas of protection as well. So why do you need to watch this webinar? Well, I would say that if you're somebody who wants to create a sense of peace in your own environment, then it's very important that you watch this webinar, because without watching it, you may be living out patterns where you live that you're not conscious of, that are actually creating your reality. And I'll explain a little bit more about that at stage 2. If you're somebody who you don't feel that your life is flowing as it should do and it's a bit stuck, then this is the webinar for you, because we're going to show you how, just by tweaking and doing a few things here and there, that you can create that flow in your life. If you feel that you're not growing to the capacity that you'd like to, then what is it in your environment that's preventing that? Also, perhaps you don't really know which way to go. You don't know what action to take. And it could be something in your environment that doesn't really show you or inspire you to get up and take that action. And finally, this is the big one of all, I believe, in my experience, is that often there's no space. People want this, they want to take. They want the experience, they want the money, they want the health, but they've got no space left inside themselves to receive anything. So until they acquire that space, how much do you think you're going to get help or receive? So this is an important component of why you need to watch this webinar. So what we're going to be looking at is we're going to be looking at clutter and how it actually keeps you stuck so you can't flow. We're going to be looking at space clearing and the patterns that creates, so that if you feel that you're not developing, there's something stopping you. Then we'll look at the 5 elements and how they can facilitate you in a flow within your life more. The importance of the bedroom where you sleep, because that is the area where you actually recreate yourself every day by going into your dreams, relaxing and rejuvenating yourselves. We're going to be looking at the health compass, which areas in your own home are important for your health, and how to create a healing space, a sanctuary within your own environment that you can return to day by day and rejuvenate and recreate something that makes you feel stronger in yourself. And finally, the entrance, the most important really, because how you return to your home daily sums up how you feel where you live. So before we get started, when I talk about Feng Shui, I just want you to be very aware of what I'm talking about. So I'm talking about energy. I'm talking about how internally we have the blood circulating around us, we have our lymph circulating, and with acupuncture, the idea behind acupuncture is to release any blockages that are getting in the way of that system. So that's what we're doing with the house. We're taking away any blockages. So we said about clutter, we're taking them away and creating space and creating a better flow. And this is what ley lines are about. Ley lines are about the flow of energy going through the earth's crust. And you'll find a lot of churches are situated on those ley lines because they conjure up the earth, the planet Earth's best energy, which is why Stonehenge is so famous. So the words feng and shui mean wind and water, so they're the 2 elements, and we often say, good luck blows in and blows out, and wherever you get water's synonymous always with wealth. So these are 2 very auspicious signs and signatures in the Chinese system, and these ideas are ancient. They come from the I Ching, the Book of Changes, which is like a divination where you discover that which cycle are you in for change, and it's about realizing that we're in constant change, and to stop that change is like being like a King Canute and stopping the tide from coming in and out. So how do we harness that energy in our own environments in order for us to feel and live a more healthier life? Well, the first one is just to be aware that some common health problems experienced by our environments can be found in certain locations. So people with cancer, MS, MND, there has been research done where certain areas, sometimes if there's pylons, and often it's been discussed that between the centre between 2 major pylons is probably the most at risk. And I've been in many houses, as I said before, where they're right next door to pylons. Undercurrent water as well is also an indicator of environmental cause of chronic health conditions. If we look at diabetes, that can be defined by certain cultural communities, and also what is available to people to access to eat as well. I've been up and down the UK, and you'll get a housing estate, and then there'll just be the basic shops, and those basic shops are restricted in what they serve in terms of food. And this is also part of the epidemic of diabetes going through the UK at the moment. and I know it's not just confined to the UK. Um, Certain areas where people are prone to anxiety and depression could be the environment in terms of, people look out the window, what do they see? More and more hurt houses, no flowers, no trees. Um, the incidence of asthma and breathing problems caused by lifestyle, but also by the high levels of pollution. And London is one of those areas, high levels of pollution. If we look at environmental pollution as well in terms of sound, then people who suffer from insomnia could be also to do with the energy within their own rooms or houses or flats where they live, as well as living in such close proximity to other people causes an issue. So these are just some of the hazards that people and conditions people have manifested as a result of the environmental factors. But number one, this is an area that you can change. Now this is an extreme picture, and if you have mirrors on the wall, all they do is they serve to duplicate already an overflowing cup, so to speak. You coming? So not everybody has got a place like we're looking at now, but I can tell you now that when people feel stuck or they're procrastinating or they haven't got a focus or clarity in their life, it's often because they have so much clutter around them or things that they look at and they don't know what to do with. Causes Eventually that causes illness and ill health, and diseases, because people haven't got a run of a flow in their own homes. And then if they're living with this all the time or they're sleeping in this, it has an impact on their energetic field. So clutter is nothing more than postponed decisions. That is, deciding about what it is you want to have and no longer what you don't want in your life. You can't keep everything that you've owned ever in and around your own environment. And because places are getting shrinking, they're getting smaller and smaller, there's less room for people to store things. So you have to ask yourself these questions. What is it you want? And let go by selling it, donating it, or binning it. Because once you do, you're going to feel much lighter. You'll feel light as a feather. And I've been in so many homes. I went into one home where the couple, they were in their 80s, they were sitting outside actually in a deck chair in Surrey one day. I turned up to see them and it was a very nice spectacle. But when I said I need to go inside to look at their home, they said, well, we're sitting out here because there's nowhere for us to sit inside their home. This is just one small example of visiting people where the clutter is dictating their life to them. And I have hundreds of other examples. So would you not like to feel like as light as a feather? And it's just freeing you from any burdens when you actually clear out your clutter. So the other aspect of slowing people down and feeling burdening is the patterns that we build up over time. Now when you go into a new place, whether it's bought or rented, it doesn't matter. All places the same. They will have their own spider's web, but the issue with this one is that it's invisible. So no matter how much you paint it, no matter how much you put on your carpet down, if you do not space clear your environment, then all you're doing is living out the invisible patterns that other people have laid down before you actually got there. But don't worry when you hear this, because there are solutions to it. Some are more intrusive than others. I'm not talking about ghosts, I don't get into that discussion. I'm talking about patterns that are held in the moisture in the atmosphere. Water holds memory, and the atmosphere that we cannot see but creates a feeling when we walk into it holds water. So water holds memory and creates a pattern. So if people have had a conflict or there's been an argument, how many times have you gone into a place, an environment, and you can feel it? They say you could cut the atmosphere with a knife. Well, yes, if it's very thick with all kinds of intensity, violence, negativity. Think about the times you've been to a court and you can feel there's a certain feeling there. It's not always comfortable. Maybe a hospital, there's a feeling there of lots of fear. So wouldn't you like to learn how to cleanse that space so that it improves your own health? And these are just some of the ways that you can do it through the sage stick here, through the essential oils, the incense and the black carbon with the resin for frankincense. These are just a few of the techniques that you can employ to cleanse that space and make it your own, bring in your own patterns. Number 3 is the 5 elemental cycle I was discussing before. Now each of these energies that I've spoken about already, the metal element is to do with the mind, water is emotions, wood is growth, the fire is action and the heart, and the earth is the stomach and being still. You can relate these energies to create a balance. You need a little bit of each, and the elements each represent a different organ in your body. They can also represent food. So if you've got a colour of each of these elements in your food, it creates more of a balance. So there's a lot more to this particular system. But if you have these colours in your environment in one form or another, or they don't even have to be colours, they can be the textures. Maybe instead of having green, you can have a green plant, a red flower. Earth doesn't have to be yellow, it can be an earth pot, terracotta. Metal could be a metal chime, or it could be the shape of a metal, what represents metal. And water, you could have a water fountain, or you could have a glass of water with glass pebbles in. So it becomes really, really creative, and you yourself then start to feel balanced. So here we have an example of the 5 elements of food. We have the blue plate, of course, but we have the earth, orange and yellow, the green, the wood element, and you've got bits of white there in the cucumber, so the metal element. So you've got all, and it actually feels balanced. If you're looking at how to introduce the earth aspect into your home, so something that actually brings you down to earth, look at all these terracotta pots here, and the terracotta colours here, the terracotta pots, and the oranges and yellows. This is one way of bringing in that earthiness. If you want to bring some fire in, then you get the fiery red and pink geraniums, the red pots. So this is how you bring those elements into your environment and thereby inspire you to create a more balanced energy. The bedroom is one of the most important rooms in the house because you go there for space and to rejuvenate and recreate yourself through the sleep. You let go of your life when you're sleeping, and while you're letting go, all the systems in your body are moving around. They're restoring, they're resting, they're replenishing, and the cells they're recreating themselves. So to have so much diversion in a bedroom like this is quite formidable. I'm not saying go to the Spartan look, but have things in there that symbolize for you what it is that you want to wake up to in the morning, and if there's too much confusion in there, then it creates a chaos for yourself throughout the day. And this is a no-no. The TV is such a no-no. Now, I can't go into that now why that's the case. There's lots of discussion about it, but it's really not a good idea to have a TV directly opposite you, as is all the mirrors as well. So just be aware of what you've got in your bedroom and try and make it chaotic free environment. The east is the 5th step. The east is the most important aspect in your own home for your health, and also for your family and for the elder people. So this is the place where you put photographs, because it's the wood element, and wood is to do with ancestors. If you think about the trees, the trees, it's a wood element, so the trees hold all the history of your family. So this is the place where you would honour your family, whoever they may be. It doesn't have to be immediate family, it could be people two centuries ago, whoever is important to you, and whoever's handed down the genetics and the language and the culture to yourself. So this is where you would honour that, but also this is the area for looking after your own health. So you'd want pictures there of healthy people, or a healthy you. So to bear that in mind in the east part of your own home. And then it would be an ideal place to retreat to and create your healing zone. So be aware that the green is all about growth, and the pebbles are all about earth. So you want somewhere to earth yourself. If you've been out working all day, or whatever you're doing, it's a place that you can retreat to. How do you create that? Visually, how do you create it? Aromatically, by putting in certain aromas. Frankincense is an excellent one for calming down. Sandalwood is another one for calming. A combination, you can put in a little bit of benzoin as well, with a tiny little bit of grapefruit or lemon, just to bring it up a little bit. I found that some of the Mediterranean aromas like orange and bergamot, these do wonders for people who live in countries where the sun doesn't visit them too often, especially in the winter. So create your own healing zone and go there to meditate, or go there to rest and reflect upon your life, or just to create a space and let go of whatever it is you've been doing. Because once again, remember I said, when you create the space in your own life, new things come in, and you let go of those things you no longer need, including the people. And finally, number 7, the entrances that you return to. So if you've been out working, or you've been out shopping, what is it you're returning to? And as you come up to the front of your home, what connotations has this home, this door got for you? If there's any growth there, plant pots with pink geraniums in, this is going to be uplifting to you. A dishevelled, not looked after front door often determines what's in the inside as well. So once again, coming back to your mental health, very important to have colours at the front, and flowers, and even herbs that release an aromatic smell can uplift you, whether it's lavender or rose or some of the herbs even. And you'll see this all throughout New York. Some of the communities have really got this down to a really good profile, where they bring in lots of pots, and they've got herbs in the pots, and so those herbs have a huge effect. And I do elaborate that on some of the teachings that I do around aroma. But aroma and the entrances are all aspects to your life and your health, both mental health, emotional intelligence health, and your physical health. So there we have it. Now what I'm offering is a full package, whereby you get an ebook, 7 webinars, 3 Skype calls with me for 45 minutes, and 12 months email access if you want to drop me a line, say, look, this is what's going on, have you got any tips, or can you tell me a good blend for creating a relaxation mood or an uplifting mood? Because it's not all about relaxation. You may want to create a space in your own home where it's rejuvenating, or if you're going through examination periods where you have to focus. So looking at those 7 Feng Shui steps to live a healthier life, what I've done is I've put together a package, and in that package there is a full ebook, 7 webinars, each dealing with the areas I've just discussed. You've got access to me by Skype 3 times for 45 minutes. So if you want to discuss anything, any room or colours or the aroma blends or the bagua, then you can do that on those Skype calls, as well as 12-month email access to me. So if you can just drop me a line, I will get back to you right away. So the first webinar out of the 7, we'll look at how to clear your clutter and how to go through that bit by bit, decisions to make, how to set up a date and a time, and it's really helpful. You can use your Skype calls to do that and tell me what great results you're having, or if there's anything that you're stuck with, then you can come back to me. In webinar 2, I'll be showing you the different techniques on how to cleanse those patterns in your own home, so that makes you feel healthier and you're not living out somebody else's patterns, you're creating your own. Webinar 3, we're looking at the 5 elements of health, and that's to do with getting into a healthier eating pattern, using through the use of colour, but also looking at the organs, and also exercises that you can do to help those different organs. Webinar 4 is we're looking at the Bagua compass. That's more to do with the health area of that compass and how you can create a healing zone in that particular area. It doesn't have to be in the east, but we will look at what kind of plants are best to use for the wood element, which is to do with the east aspect of the house. Webinar 6, we're looking at the bedroom, what to have and not to have. And remember that TV? I'll explore more with you why you shouldn't have large mirrors or TVs in the bedroom, and the best place for your bed to be situated to ensure that you have a good night's sleep. And this causes a lot of the problems we mentioned before, insomnia for people. It could be just a simple tweaking of the bedroom that would actually restore people's health. And finally, webinar 7, whilst the final webinar, we look at entrances and why they're so important and what you can do to create a better entrance going back into the atrium of your own home. Now, each of those webinars costs $297 because that's the value of them. If you think about all the books and the magazines you'd have to trail through to get this information, and that would be just over $2,000. But don't despair, because I have an offer. But I just want to alert you first of all to the benefits of this course. I'm going to show you how to break down patterns that have probably caused disease in your home, or sadness and melancholy, and how we can shift the patterns even by looking at what's on the walls and the kind of plants that you need to bring into that room. We're going to look at how you can create your own private sanctuary so that you can get away from this crazy mad world sometimes and create a space of stillness. And it's often in that stillness that you feel more and more healthy and recharge your batteries. We're going to look at your health in a more holistic manner by using the 5 elements so that you can actually manage your health in a better way. That's not just by what you eat, but the exercise that you do and the environments you choose to find yourself in. Then other benefits are it's going to help your family and yourself create a more healthy environment for everybody involved. So it's not just for yourself, but everybody will benefit from this, because you know yourself that when you go into places or people's homes, often you're not just looking at one person in isolation. It's the whole family that create that feeling. So a family that is actually connected is a family that's exuding an energy of vibrancy. And how do we set that up? And finally, some of the other benefits of the space you're going to create by letting go of unwanted chi, unwanted negative chi, clutter, and you're going to have more space to breathe and feel lighter in yourself. And when people feel lighter in themselves, then they're much more able to go forward in their lives. So if you want some of this in your life, then take the next step, and that is this. Here's what you're going to get. You're going to get, besides the ebook, which is the bonus by the way, the 7 webinars that I've discussed, the 6 1-hour Skype sessions, and the 12 months email access to me. So it's almost like coaching. If that's what you want, we can design it and decide how you want to use that time. And that's just under $5,000. Now, that's the value of it, but I'm offering something very special with these webinars for you, the listener who's dared to actually take on board these ideas. I'm very brave of you are, because what is the price of a healthier life? Remember, you're talking to somebody who's been in over 1,000 homes visiting people to do with their health, and I can tell you 80% of why they have problems is to do with their environments and their internal environments as well. So how they actually relate to what is around them. And what better gift could you give to somebody to follow through on these steps by giving them this voucher? And that whole package is only going to cost you $297. What is the value of that? You know, some of the things that you're going to learn, you wouldn't even get from your doctor, and you won't get from the physio. I've brought everything together that I've experienced and learnt myself. Not to mention that I myself spent time in hospital and realised how environments affected me. So here is a great opportunity for you to think about your health, because you know what? Health is true wealth. Once you've got that kind of wealth, you can't accomplish anything in your life. But if you're always feeling ill, you're always sickly, and you don't always know why. People who don't sleep properly, you know, as I said before, the insomnia catches up with them years later. So wouldn't this be a great gift for somebody? Because there is no price on a healthier life, and this price that I'm offering is absolutely, honestly, it's so undersold at this stage in the game. So changes are coming, and if you want positive changes in your life to make it more healthier, then why not go to this website here now, and that is wealthyspaces.com/stroke healthy spaces, and it'll take you straight to the PayPal page where you can buy this. Now, if this is not for you, for the first 30 days you've bought this, it is 100% guaranteed satisfaction. Now, it will take you some time, some days to look at the webinars, start implementing, and what I want to hear back on my emails and on my Skype is people who've taken action and they've actually made those changes, and I want to hear the effects, because I know for a fact that when I've taught this at university, I've taught it in colleges, I've taught it for corporations, people come back to me and say, guess what, I've moved house, my family have changed towards me, the atmosphere is far better, we've got more flow, we've got more space, and these are the kind of results that I really want to hear from you. And I believe you'll get that when you go onto this particular page and purchase your package. If it's not for you, make someone's day now by offering them as a gift voucher, and I can give you that gift voucher and you can pass that on to them. So that's 7 Feng Shui steps to live a healthier life. I'll take you through those 7 webinars. You've got your own ebook, and you've got access to myself to discuss these improvements that you are going to make. It's going to change your life, actually, and I've done, how many times I've taught this under the banner of health, and made huge strident changes for people that they've changed themselves. I am just the facilitator. Now, remember this, that when you're starting to change to a healthier life, why not go on to my webinar where I talk about inside out Feng Shui, looking at the internal environment, looking at the cells, looking at the organs, looking at the mental health structures, and how you, through your breathing, can actually space clear and clear the clutter from within. So if you're very interested in that webinar, you can go onto this particular website and go and listen to that as well. So I hope this has been helpful to you, and thank you very much for listening.